Robin, very typical bans, but maybe we'll see more focused bans this time around.
Still expecting Robin and Raijin to not be able to make it through unless Obey are trying to opt for it themselves. And
there
that's
is that
one.
focus ban, the Morgan coming out. They do not want eUnited to have that again.
Yeah, Venenu's Morgan's been on point for a while, and I can definitely see why they banned it. He's probably has the best Morgan in this entire tournament.
But leaving out more, by banning Morgan, you're leaving out a few others, including Uller, 8, and AMC.
Yeah, if they were going to ban a Hunter, I would want them to go with the AMC instead of the Uller. They banned the Uller last game, but it looks like both of them are up. I'm kind of curious to see what eUnited bans. I think they might ban the AMC because I know they favor it a lot, and Obey is the first pick, but they might just leave both of them up and trade them as well.
eUnited could possibly even leave open the Raijin, but if they opt to ban Raijin here, that will put both Hunters out there, and then eUnited could decide which one they want to go for.
And there it is. Taco, you predicted the Raijin being banned out. Now, who are they going to prioritize over Uller or AMC?
Ataraxia really liked the Uller a lot this tournament, but I kind of feel like the AMC has been doing a lot of work throughout this entire tournament. I know he hasn't won a ton of the games, but I know that Ataraxia really loves the Uller pick.
And you were right. Uller is picked.
No real surprise either because, like Aurora was just saying, Ataraxia absolutely loves Uller, not to mention that it's going to provide enough pressure for Obey's dual lane that Emilzy might not necessarily have to start with him if they want to maybe look to assist Pretty Prime a little bit more in the mid lane.
But by giving them Uller, you are giving eUnited Kukulin, and they did so much damage with Kukulin last game.
I really like this by eUnited as well. Both Polarbear Mike and Emilzy love the Fafnir pick. Mike's taking it away early, and they know they don't have to pick AMC here, and they could pick him third because they already have the Hunter on the Obey side.
This is looking a similar comp to last game for eUnited.
Kukulin and Fafnir are just two staple picks really for eUnited. You're giving two members favorite gods and the gods that they're comfortable with at that.
Taking time for their second pick here on Obey's side.
I feel like Obey's going to try to whip out something here. They haven't really showed too much yet, and I feel like they're going to bring out one of their strategies they have had prepared for this event. I'm kind of excited to see what it is.
Everybody hears about the whisperings behind the scenes with the pro player lives, and the only thing that I've heard so far is that it was going to be very random and out there for Obey's drafting.
An Amaterasu pick coming out here. Does that surprise you for Obey?
No, it's going to go to Emilzy. He really likes that pick a lot. And the Discordia, again, I feel like Prime feels that he died twice early game, and if he doesn't let that happen again, he's going to have a lot better of a game. I feel like United's going to go with the AMC here unless they have something prepared that's really special because they're going to ban Kuzenbo is a troll hover.
Yeah, I'm sure. Could you imagine picking Kuzenbo over AMC?
Could you imagine if it actually got locked in right here?
They would have to put it in the jungle because they already have Fafnir and Kukulin, unless they put Kukulin in the jungle and Kuzenbo in the soul lane, which is possible actually, but they're just trolling us and making us talk about nothing right now.
I would probably expect it to be the AMC selection, like you already said. Maybe even a Hu Yi as well for eUnited, but considering how well AMC already worked, even though it's more single target damage, it can still hold its own in the lane.
Yeah, and Panda Cat's had a long history of playing AMC. Against Trifecta at Super Regionals, the team I was up playing for, they picked AMC all 3 games, and he dominated in every single one of them.
So something that I'm noticing here for Obey is that they're not prioritizing Osiris or Hell here, which they already would have picked at this point in the game last time. Do you think that we're going to see a Hell ban from Emilzy, or is it not worry anymore because Amaterasu's up there?
I don't think they're going to ban Hell since Ama's up there. They could put it in the soul lane or possibly jungle, but I don't think eUnited's going to ban the Hell. I don't think they're too scared of it right now.
Amaterasu doesn't really suit from everything that we've seen from Xaylia as far as playstyle is concerned, and that's kind of one of those gods where you're not really anticipating the lane phase to go well.
Ra, the sun god himself, coming out mid lane for eUnited.
I really like this pick a lot out of eUnited. We haven't seen Venenu play a ton of Ra, which is pretty surprising that they picked it here, especially since AMC is up. I'm kind of expecting an AMC ban out of Obey here, and they're probably going to ban another Hunter, and they're going to go with Hu Yi as well. That would be my guess.
And I'm liking the Odin ban here. You definitely don't want Ra to get caught up in that, and the healing and the anti-heal. You just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, Odin's just very strong. He has the slow that got buffed and damaged recently, and he also has his cage, which is very annoying, and then he has a ton of burst damage to go along with that. So against healers, he does a very good job.
And Obey as well for this, they could also look to maybe target out a Hunter and a Jungler. We know that Scream has a pretty deep God pool, but there's still a lot of opportunities for him to try bringing out maybe the Ratatasker or even an Aja.
Yeah, my guess would be that they're going to ban Huyi, Hachi, or they're going to go with the Bastet, because I don't know how much experience they have against playing Bastet, and Scream had a really good game last game as well.
It definitely didn't seem like much. Like you said, Scream was phenomenal on Bastet. Cabrakan coming banned out over on eUnited side.
Zaylia loves that pick, no surprise there. He was known for his Colin and Cabrakan pick kind of at Super Regionals, so no surprise there to me at all.
One last ban coming out on the side of Obey. What do they want to take away from eUnited? And it looks like it is Bastet. You were right, Aurora. They do not know how to handle it. What's so good about Bastet?
It's really good with the Morgan, one thing which they had last game and they banned it out earlier this game, but it's just a ton of damage and a lot of pressure to deal with. It's one of the assassins you can get away with right now, going full damage in a full pen build. You kind of usually have to go tanky as an assassin pick.
Huyi going on the side of eUnited.
That's one of the downfalls of Obey choosing to go with the Bastet ban, is they're probably expecting eUnited Pandacat to lean on this Huyi. He's got a pretty excellent one at that too, and faring off against an Ullr and won't necessarily have any way to outpressure him from levels 1 through 7, but generally after you get 4 points in your Ricochet, you can at least clear the wave pretty safely and not have to worry about Ullr comboing you.
And I feel like they picked the Ra on the top 3 just so they could ban the Odin out and not feel bad for picking it bottom 2. But I feel like they could have picked the Ra there as well and switched it up if they really wanted AMC that bad, but I kind of feel like they didn't really care about what Hunter they picked too much, which is kind of interesting to me because Obey could have banned both of them out. But maybe they were trying to get them to ban Hunters so the Bastet would go through again and they could play it that way. But there's a couple ways to look at it, but that's probably what they were thinking when they picked Ra third.
Why does no one ban Osiris on Obey? Literally, they have played Osiris every single game.
I feel like United probably feels from watching the other games that Twig didn't have much of an impact, but I feel like he did have a pretty big impact. But from like, I don't know, so the opinion about Osiris Jungle from a lot of the NA teams is that he doesn't really do too much. That's how I feel from scrimming in the scene and hearing people's opinions. But Twig has shown he's done a really good job on it.
I think that also Obey just or eUnited are just very confident in their own playstyle and that they'll be able to deal with Osiris no problem.
And a Fenrir pick coming out over Obey, or eUnited, I'm sorry. How does that fit into their comp?
It fits really well. Ra and Fenrir, the Celestial Beam into the Searing Pain combo is just so strong out of the Ragnarok from Fenrir.
I'm really excited to see the results of this one, everyone. It's game number 2 of eUnited versus Obey Alliance.
Thank you so much, Kelly, and the desk. And here we go for game 2. eUnited up 1-0. The Fenrir pick, the final pick there against an RTO?
That's the only part that scares me a little bit, is that Brutalize, channeling that against the RTO, good luck. It's just not going to happen. But outside of that, I really like this pick because when you have a Ra in the mid lane, you want something that can be instant setup. And in that leap in, that unchain, that unbound, you could just instantly delete someone with a Fenrir 1 into a Ra snipe. And Venenu, if he played just as well as he did in game 1, isn't going to need much more than that. Plus, as Aurora said, if you could actually pick someone up and put them in the mouth, a 1-4 combo from Ra is going to delete just about anybody.
I'm also a little bit concerned for Discordia in the mid lane, not just because of the Ra Fenrir combo. Ho Yi can actually, mark him to mark Pretty Prime to make sure that when he's in stealth, he can still be seen. Plus, with the sun's raining down, that's a much larger area than that tiny little invisibility cloud for Discordia. I really like the fact that Pandacat went to Ho Yi instead of the Hachiman we've seen so often. You and I were talking before the game, and look, I get that Hachiman's good. I can see it. I just feel like we've seen more impactful plays from gods like Ho Yi, even like Jing Wei, that can really tear up a late game team fight. Hachiman has just been kind of underwhelming so far this tournament. Would like to notice in the start is that nice little warm-up ricochet comes out from Pandacat. That Obey will be paying close attention to where that young man is there, that Fafnir, because game 1, that caused him a bit of a problem. So they're making sure he is in the lane this time round, so there's no pressure on mid. But maybe turnaround could be fair play.
Oh no, I don't think Twig's going there. Instead, Pretty Prime starting with the Strife instead of the Unruly Magic. It'll lose a lot of the lane clear, but he's just trying to keep eUnited busy because look at where Captain Twig is. He's invading on that right-hand side, the sneaky start that Obey likes to do from time to time.
So speed buff stolen away by Obey on the right. Meanwhile, eUnited are going to get the red buff of Obey on the left. Speed buff also being taken by United. So we've had a bit of a crisscross across the map. All the buffs are technically still even for a moment.
But Captain Twig's going to be able to solo down both buffs, and that means that he's going to have a slight experience lead, except for Scream got that lane, the minion wave on that right-hand side. So should be about even overall. Twig actually decides to leave the big part of the blue buff, just get the minis in order to hit level 2 and head over to the fire elementals, pick up the minis there most likely, and then head over and join Xaylia in the solo lane.
Well, Xaylia being left alone on this right-hand side has to be very careful the whole time. Make sure that he doesn't get pressured by Benji and Scream too much, as he will be an easy meal for those two in a 1v2 scenario. But at the moment, Captain Twig has got himself a nice little lead by taking the Oracle, so the Elementals on the right-hand side too, to deny United really getting more than just the lane pressure against Xaylia. Captain
Twig off to a much better start than he had in Game 1. That Game 1 start helped out Ataraxia, it helped out Emilzy and Pretty Prime, but it really set Captain Twig and Xaylia very far behind. Now, the start didn't help Xaylia much at all, and that's kind of the way that Obey has played these early games, is kind of leaving Xaylia alone on an island in the solo lane, and just saying good luck. Hopefully we don't lose too many buffs. Xaylia doesn't get any, Twig gets 1.5, whereas Benji and Scream are able to secure 2.5 buffs for themselves.
Now this time around as well, Obey have to be a little bit careful around objective control, because they don't really have too much of that in terms of what gods they've picked. eUnited, on the other hand, with a Ra just sat there and a Ho Yi, it's a little bit better.
Look at where Scream is. He's going to try and put some pressure on this right-hand side, and Ataraxia just used those purification beads off the hammer from Polar Bear Mike.
No wards, and Scream had a great Game 1. Can he just start again? Looking for potentially a Milzy or Ataraxia, and Ataraxia was just blindsided as they all in him. Panda Cat with first blood, eUnited off to the same start as Game 1.
And this is perfect timing for a gank because Scream isn't giving anything up. Look at the right side of the map. All the buffs are still waiting to respawn. It gives Venenu a solo wave in mid, where he's been having to share with Panda Cat for the most part. Emilzy in some trouble, but able to squeak by through the wall.
Yeah, I was going to say, if the Suns were a little bit closer, that could have been a dead Emilzy. That
could have been, but Venenu getting that solo wave is big because that keeps him even with Pretty Prime, who was able to solo down the first few waves all by himself, where Ven was sharing with Panda Cat. And that gank timing, again, perfect from Scream, not losing any buffs on the right-hand side. Now he can back if he needs to, get his boots too, and try and secure his own buffs this time around. Or, at this point, can just stick around, get that extra farm, and even try and finish off Boots 3.
Well, the first of the mid laners is now back into base, which is Pretty Prime. He's going to invest into Boots 2, not enough to complete them just yet. Venenu about to follow suit and complete his Warlock Slash. So now the stacks can begin, and at less than 4 minutes, that's not a bad situation for a Ra to be in.
No, this is a good start for Venenu, and look at the start that Captain Twig went for, the Talaria boots here, instead of the usual Warrior Tabi on the Osiris jungle, giving up some damage with this selection, but gaining some extra income. Those Talaria boots, whenever Twig walks in a lane, throws a sickle strike at somebody, 30 gold. Hits the 2 with Spirit Flail, 30 gold on someone else. That can only happen every 90 seconds, but it also gives him some more speed out of combat to get around. This is an interesting strategy because Obey is kind of relying on this Osiris jungle to be the majority of their early game damage. Discordia does not bring good damage numbers in the early game. And Xaylia will bring decent ones on the RTO, but not the big burst. It was kind of Captain Twig's responsibility to do a lot of that early damage, but having a warrior support like Amaterasu, especially with that damage aura, means that even though Twig got a little bit less damage with his boots, can kind of pick it up as long as he's around Emilzy.
Also to make sure that Scream, I mean, obviously he's played with Fenway, he can easily just keep jumping over walls to change position quickly. The Talaria boots will at least allow him to keep up with some of the mobility that Fenway is going to have over him without him having to use that ultimate. You see the pings going down from Obey Alliance there on the left-hand side. They're looking for the Oracles. Should be able to get these for free, but Twig's in a bit of trouble here. On his own, gets stunned by Scream, picked up, instant beads, looking for the Lord of the Afterlife over the wall. Can he get away? Snipe comes through, but Captain Twig dips to mid just in time.
Just a little bit late on that snipe by Venenu. There's the golden apple, but great dodge by Venenu. Uses a purification bead. Scream jumps in. Pretty low on mana, but good damage onto eMealsy.
Not going to get the time to get any more damage on, though, from eUnited. They do back away there. And Pretty Prime got lucky with a juke of his own, just dashing through, using those immunity frames. Now, though, Twig enters the right-hand side.
Benji doesn't have an ultimate here, very low, but the transformation gives him enough of a shield to escape underneath that tower.
Calculated.
Tank boots to pick up for Benji. Knew exactly how much damage he could take because he got that extra bit of protection from that boots. No warrior tab eye. Apparently everyone just hates warrior tab eye in this game except for Scream.
It's a bit surprising to see a Kukulkan go for defense boost against an RTO in the lane. I mean, there's no real chance an RTO can solo a Kukulkan.
Completely agreed. Just looking to give himself some extra protection and some extra CC reduction. I think that's a big stat here for Benji with these boots because there's the CC chain potential from Obey is very, very potent between Strife, the Ama ult, the Ullr Axe. I mean, you've got plenty of things to worry about. So getting that extra bit of CCR gives Benji some serious survivability.
Absolutely nothing separating these two teams right now other than that first blood, but even then it's still even. Panda Cat being pressured by eMealsy, but with Polar Bear Mike showing face, they will have to back away, realizing they can't find the pick. Everyone's actually equal on levels as well, which is not surprising for how this game has started.
No, and that's a much better sign for Obey than where they were last game, because Pretty Prime was way down to Venenu in the mid lane, as was Captain Twig in the jungle to Scream.
SWC with a bit of a small lead over Panda Cat now. Just in terms of itemization picked up so far, he's starting to work towards the Devourer's Gauntlets we've seen so much of this year. Panda Cat only has the boots completed as it stands. But SWC needs to be careful that Mike doesn't show up one more time, which he does. Recognizes it quick and gets away before the hammer connects.
There's that Ullr change, getting a little bit of extra time whenever you switch stance. You can jump a little bit more quickly than you used to be able to. And usually you can jump on an Ullr and bow stance and find that hammer, but Ataraxia quick on the trigger. Press 4, press 3, get out of danger.
Right-hand side, Captain Twig and Zilla going to get their blue buff, and eUnited will do the same thing with Benji and Scream. Ataraxia just trying to farm up as much as he can. And all of that first blood went to Panda Cat. That's the biggest key so far, and the only difference in these two teams.
But even so, Ataraxia has had a really good start because check out the net worth. Panda Cat got that boost to 400 gold, but Ataraxia is right there in the net worth. That means that Obey's Hunter has been doing a better job of farming than Panda Cat. Some of it is getting the solo waves. eMealsy hasn't been over on the left-hand side a whole lot so far. Some of it is just being able to rotate around and use that superior Ullr clear to increase your clear times, catch an extra minion here and there in the lane after you clear buffs. It's the little things that catch you up, like Ataraxia's.
Right, and Harpy's being contested now between Twig and Scream, but also he's got support Pretty Prime and in tow there eMealsy to make sure they will go the way of Obey Alliance. But the Oracle's about to spawn and both teams start to be edging towards that area now. Plenty of wards down for both teams here, but well aware, but have they got time to get him? No, look at the use of Snipe there from Venenu just to secure the camp.
Smart. Searing Pain, a very low cooldown ultimate, so not gonna miss that too much. Plus, Venenu wanted to back there anyways. He had enough to finish off those cooldown boots. He was sitting only on boots 1, susceptible to those constant slows from Osiris. Now with that extra mobility, Venenu has some safety. And look, his ultimate's already a quarter of the way to being ready to go.
How do you feel about the Stone of...
Shh. Crowd, just be quiet.
Don't talk, crowd, okay? He can hear you.
It'll be fine.
He knows himself.
It's the, you know, you can feel the shame whenever that happens. You don't need a crowd there.
Just ooh,
yeah.
The dirty ooh. I was about to say as well, Benji on the right side is going for Stone of Gaia. He did this game 1 on the Kukulkan, and game 2 is going for it as first item again. However, there's no real knockups on Obey. Is that how good that item really is?
Against a magical guardian like RTO is, there's not a lot of good second item magical protection items that you want to really go for. Pestilence is pretty solid. You can go an aggressive route, go for something like a runic shield or an Anchile, but outside of that, it's kind of awkward to select something to go in that slot. Stone of Gaia is just cheap HP, and especially against a guardian who's not going to be building penetration anyways. HP is basically as valuable as those protections, so you may as well go for the cheap option that gives you the big 400 health, also gives you a ton of health sustain.
Well, I was about to say as well, it's got mana regen on it, but he doesn't need it, but it gets converted to health regen, so his extra sustain potentially from that is one of the reasons I was like, well, maybe maybe that's the case.
It's just a solid item. Anytime you could pick it up in the solo lane up against a Guardian. Most Guardians are going to knock you up that are in the solo lane anyways. I mean, I'm looking at Xingqian and Sobek as two very popular Guardian solos. So against those guys in particular, it's absolutely the best call to pick up in that second item slot. In this one, you're right. There's no knockups for Obey, but it doesn't really matter. You're going to be able to get a lot of mileage out of that 400 health.
Well, I will say it's starting to line up for a very EU sort of game right now. Only 1 kill in 10 minutes. Only seen a couple of games like this so far, and they all were EU dominant for the most part. But it's all about stacks right now. You can see the Warlock Sash for Venenu is nearly reaching that 100 mark, whereas Discordia has that Doom up for Pretty Prime, and that's going to be going all the way up to 40. Meanwhile, the two Hunters, those Devour Gauntlets, are beginning as well.
The Hunters evened out now. It was Ataraxia with a slight lead with the Spike Gauntlet. Now he and Panda Cat are on the same plane, both with the Devo gloves and the Light Blade starting to be worked out. I really, if I'm looking at the mid laners here, I favor Venenu at this point in the game. Even with the extra damage from Pretty Prime's Do More, Venenu is going to be very difficult to bring down. He has just a lot of HP, and Warlock Sash always thought of as the HP item, but when you get towards that max number of stacks, that 100 mark, you start doing a lot of damage on top of that, so it's a really good spot.
Nice jump from Panda Cat into the ricochet. Hello, Ataraxia. Forces the Aegis. And the beads were on cooldown already, so they're back up. But now Panda could be in trouble himself.
Panda got caught taunting. Good stun by PBM to force off Captain Twig for the moment. Venenu has arrived, and so has Scream.
And Pretty Prime's got to run, or is it a Millsy? He's got no ultimate to get away. Snipe early on, followed by the damage on top. And Apple a Day won't keep eUnited away. And Captain Twig has to fight the full front line of eUnited, but he will fall back to safety.
Good fight there by eUnited, and there's that combo that Aurora was talking about on the desk. The Searing Pain Celestial Beam combination from Venenu does enough damage to Emilzy to bring him down. Good rotation over by eUnited. That is premeditated. As soon as everyone on eUnited sees Panda Cat jump in, everyone starts heading over to that left-hand side. You know there's a rotation coming, and you've got to bail him out. Panda Cat only does have to use both of his relics, but getting an extra kill in the process, now both kills on eUnited on their Star Hunter.
On that Ho Yi, and Panda Cat is one of these players who's been around a long time, but his first Worlds performance, and he's looking pretty solid right now. He's got a bit of a lead over Ataraxia. It's not by a lot, considering Ataraxia's doing a very good job of keeping pace, even though Panda Cat has picked up those 2 kills.
But in the late game, I mean, there's been so much talk about Ullr and where he's strong, which is almost all the game.
Sure.
But in the late game, it can be tricky to manage your stances correctly, be in act stance when necessary.
Benji could be in a bit of trouble here, trying to get away from the root from the RTO, and does just that. Still the chase on from Twig, but once they get to the tower edge, they realize better of it.
Going back to Ullr's weaknesses, his late game siege is very difficult at times because you need to be in your bow stance to be hitting the Phoenix or the tower, whatever you need to siege down from a distance, but it takes some time. I know we saw Ataraxia do it quickly, but it's still time to switch over to act stance and jump away. Ho Yi, on the other hand, has an near instant jump that can get up and over whatever Obey Alliance is going to be throwing his way. So Ataraxia staying close is good for Obey, but the fact that Panda Cat has not only been able to keep pace, but stay ahead of that Ullr in the dual lane is a good sign for eUnited.
Also a bit of a problem with Obey's composition from my eyes is the fact that, well, their engages kind of run at you. Or Twig. Like, Twig has to ult, or Zalia and Emilzy have to run at you to try and force an engagement. That could cause problems, but here's the problems for Obey right now, is the Gold Fury has been started.
Good stun on Ataraxia by Polar Bear Mike as Aegis still down for 7 seconds. Look at the wraparound by Scream. He finds a stun, but the beads are good. Gets him out of that Ragnarok.
And Emilzy going to try and zone them away, and in comes Twig. Tether onto 2. Scream's the one really in trouble here. Lord of the Afterlife onto Mike. Needs some room for Scream to get on the backside, but Benji's in amongst the Pigeons, and the Pigeons are Obey, and the Pigeons are trying to run away right now. Now that's going to be a kill for Benji once more with that rotation, and the Gold Fury is still option for eUnited.
Gold Fury started again, and there's the healing. Benji right in that front line, zoning away 3. Good stun by Ataraxia, big damage, but the war cry is there. Benji retreats while Scream goes forward.
And they put so much work into Benji, but Benji went back to hold the Gold Fury for his team. Keep an eye on Ataraxia. He stole a Gold Fury so far this tournament, but Panda Cat is the one that's starting to shred through some of the damage dealers on Obey. Still the goal being contested, but eUnited will come out on top. Obey hung around too long, and eMilzy will also be a casualty of that fight in favor of North America.
Panda Cat feeling it, 3-0-1. He was the one doing the zoning work once Benji had to retreat. eUnited is playing with such confidence. We've already touched on the fact that they have multiple players who are playing in their first World Championship here on this stage, and they're playing with so much confidence. They're juggling a Gold Fury down to 200 HP against a team that's finished second twice here on this stage. They've played out of the control.
A lot of people, though, came into this tournament talking about North America. I mean, nobody really respects North America after the last domination of EU for the last 2 years in the World Championships. And then you look at what happened to LG earlier on this tournament. eUnited are the last hope, but they are the #1 seed for a reason, and there's a reason Obey are #2.
Exactly. This team from eUnited, I was really excited to see how they were going to do up against Europe, because everyone knows that eUnited and Luminosity have been scrim partners. They all talk about it.
Hold up. Venenu's in trouble, surrounded by 3, and over the wall comes Mike. He body blocked it. I don't think he intended that, but he says he did. I bet he will, and comes afterwards. Nice work from Mike, the safety play, and gets Venenu out of a very, very dangerous situation.
I'd get in trouble if I said exactly what PBM's saying in comms right now, but it's something along the lines of, I'm sick at SMITE. Yes. And you know what? Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, or when you put them together, you end up with a lot of success. Going back to what I was saying before, eUnited and LG scrim partners coming into this event, they have been for the majority of the year. And when you see your scrim partner really get dominated by a team playing a different style, it can kind of shake your confidence a little bit. Maybe our understanding of the meta isn't as good as we initially thought. Well, clearly eUnited's been able to make some adjustments, whether it's adjustments or it's just executing their own game plan that they had practiced with Luminosity better than LG was able to. The results are clearly showing for eUnited.
Well, since the start of the game as well, there's not really been any more invades. The jungle has pretty much traded out across the map as eUnited invaded Obey and Obey invaded eUnited. But since then, no one's really looked for the aggression around that. It's mainly been these mid camps, the mid Harpies, the Gold Furies, and now the Portal Demon.
Captain Twig jumped on by Scream. He's gonna hit him with that Ragnarok, a late beats from Captain Twig, kind of calling Scream's bluff. There was no support.
And now with that, it's surrounded for Benji, who's trying to keep Obey busy as eUnited look to force the Portal Demon. They do just that using Venenu's ult. The apple has spread to 2 targets, but those targets are wandering away, I should say 3. But Benji is just zoned in the whole team. Watch the back line, Nate's there.
Where is Ataraxia doing there? All the way behind, and now all of eUnited turns to face him. He's gonna be able to jump away, but that baits Captain Twig in, who has to use his ult defensively.
Zalia has to be running as well, but with that cripple field, be able to walk back to safety. Overall, nobody dies, but eUnited gets the Portal Demon. Obey have a couple relics left, however, compared to that of eUnited.
Pretty Prime played that fight very well. He was able to stay with, without taking a lot of fire in the deep backline. That's why he has both his relics available, but still wasn't able to put out the damage he probably would have liked. Still waiting on getting some extra pen, working towards what's probably going to be a Divine Ruin to try and deal with what Venenu is putting out on this Raw.
But look at the middle tower, it's nearly going to fall down soon. He's very, very low. Panda Cat and Benji grouping up on the right side, and Zalia's going to get a nice route onto Panda Cat. Needs to get to the sky, but which way is he going to go? Into the jungle, but still aggression from Benji will buy Panda Cat time, because the reinforcements from eUnited. My God! And Venenu just hair snipe that could help put eUnited into the finals.
What a play by Benji and Ven. Benji takes away 3 members from Panda Cat. Nice ult there from Pretty Prime, but my lord, Benji has just been dominant so far this set. Only 1-0-1, but taking on 3 members, everyone's looking at Panda Cat. The Panda's low, he's got the Aussie proc, but instead of trying to chase him down, a lot of it was the support coming over from the rest of eUnited, but a lot of it is just the fact that there's a big mean Kukulkan between you and the Hunter, and you gotta try and make a choice. Are you gonna try and go through Benji? I don't think so.
And I love the fact that Benji went for sovereignty here too. Not just because it'll give him an own sustain and some protections, but it's still a team aura. It's still going to be very impactful for his team, especially when Polar Bear Mike is going for other options that will also help.
It's even more HP 5. I mean, there's the HP 5 right now for this Kukulkan is going to be absolutely insane, and that's a big reason why Pretty Prime is going for this Divine Ruin. But all this HP 5 is affected by that Rod of Asclepius that Venenu has picked up. That's all healing that gets increased. So even though some anti-heal will come in and the Divine Ruin anti-heal is stronger than the boost that Rod of Asclepius gives you, it's still going to cut the effectiveness of that Divine Ruin. Love that pickup by Venenu, and I love how eUnited is tailoring their builds around it.
Well, we're approaching 20 minutes so far. eUnited have one Gold Fury, one Portal Demon to the name. They have taken the tier 1 tower in mid and the right-hand side, but the gold discrepancy isn't that big. It's still only 4,000. I mean, 4,000, yeah, but only 4. You can still fight back into this.
Without a doubt, and Obey Alliance's late game composition is pretty potent. Nice combination there from Pretty Prime, but still just not enough damage quite yet. Is Benji going to turn his attention to Ataraxia?
Careful there, but the Gold Fury's respawned and Obey grouped up, and however, Scream's got a bone, and that bone's in a lot of trouble as the SMITE comes through. MLZ couldn't do anything. The apple goes to the backline out of Prime, but Benji and Mike are just tearing through the backline of Obey and keeping them at bay.
eUnited get the objective. Benji still alive. Scream gonna jump in, and look at eUnited charging forward, looking for the kill.
Bailey's in trouble, but jukes the ricochet, which would have been as soon as Mike dives onto Ataraxia, which will get his beads and his Aegis too, which are now on cooldown. Gold Fury to eUnited, and now they fall back, realizing they can't get anything else.
eUnited is just playing so clean, and the target selection has been perfect. Every fight around this Gold Fury here started off with Scream jumping in and picking up Emilzy with that ult. 0-3 on Emilzy. Half of eUnited's kills are onto their support, who has been a real leader for this team. And especially with the selection that he went for, this Amaterasu, you really want to get ahead. You want to play in the mid game. You want to use that aura to move around the map quickly, and then the damage aura to try and burn down objectives very quickly. When Emilzy's taken out of the equation, not only does Obey just get worse in dealing damage and being survivable, but that's their best counter-engage option. You've talked a lot about how bad the engage is for Obey, and that's kind of by design. They want to take the initial fight, have eUnited engage onto them, and then turn it around. And that's what Ama does so well, but when Ama's dead, tough to turn it.
Oh, my Pandika is swinging so hard right now. Look at how low Captain Twig got already. Scream going to chase out Pretty Prime around the corner. And this is all for eUnited to set up for the Portal Demon or the Fire Giant, depending on what response we get out of the Bay.
All ults up except for Polar Bear Mike's, and it's nearly there. Everyone from Obey Alliance ready. Relics down though on Ataraxia. Watch for him.
He's in a lot of trouble there. Has to be careful. Gets away from Benji. Ataraxia turns up. Has to be careful because Benji's Thorns will be up soon. And you don't want to all in against the Thorns because it won't spell a good situation. Emilzy goes to the backline looking for a stun on Venenu and gets it. But Scream takes him on a wild ride.
There he goes. Emilzy again picked up and put down. Panda Cat gets another. Benji finally gonna fall.
But now Captain Twig gets that kill, but still 4 members of eUnited groups up close, trying to use the sustain. Venenu gets one. Panda Cat gets out after getting Zalia.
No way!
Prime. Pretty Prime looks for the kill. The stars don't come into play. Panda Cat gets a double kill. That's the Portal Demon for eUnited.
They might be able to go. They might be able to go straight for fire. Ataraxia the only one up, but still has no relics. Good choice. Get the Portal Demon back and heal up. Come through and do fire. Then Emilzy the only one who's going to be up anytime soon, and even then it's going to take him a little bit to get there.
Well, he stole a Gold Fury first up earlier on this tournament. This eUnited comp could go for the Fire Giant right now. Will even look for it is the question. It doesn't seem to be. There's so many wards in the jungle, they will see him come in. Instead, Ataraxia will have to just head over to the red buff and surrender the Fire Giant to eUnited in this second game.
Man, eUnited just playing so well right now.
So
Again,
clean.
they split up Obey Alliance. What do they do right away? They bait Emilzy in. He's been getting just focused out so often that I think that he's kind of getting a little anxious, pulling the trigger a little bit too early on that Amma ult. He goes a little bit deeper than the rest of Obey can really handle. And part of that, again, is because Benji just says, nope, you're not allowed past me. Finally, Obey is able to get something on the board. They bring down Benji, but not before Emilzy falls, and it baited all of Obey into a very tight corridor where Panda Cat was just absolutely ripping through them. This guy, what can you say about him? 6-0-4, top of the player damage charts. The fact that he lived in that last fight is just incredible.
You saw Obey actually ping the tier 1 top of the left-hand side. They were trying to get that as quick as they could, but eUnited are shredding through these tier 2s a lot quicker than expected, and so they had to fall back to defend against this Phoenix Siege.
Now Discordia, very hard to siege against. That Strife very good, but Benji first one in. Just going right on top of Zalia. The Suns come down as well, not enough to bring him down.
And millsy just get out of the fray. Phoenix is still very, very healthy. Pretty Prime did use his ult, and in goes Scream, and he's going to pick up a millsy one more time. No ultimate from a millsy. He does get right inside though, but Panda Cat wants to give chase. He bought enough time, did a millsy though, for Obey to reset. He will be surviving for now, but still the siege is on and his Twig in trouble.
Great ricochet there from Panda Cat. Mid Phoenix down to about half HP. All of Obey has to back up. Pretty Prime had such a great defense last time. Might find it on a Scream. The unruly magic not quite gonna bounce to him.
No, Ataraxia couldn't find the last little bit of damage needed for Scream. He'll sustain in the jungle with that Fenrir, but the chase is on from Obey up the mid lane. It's mainly towards Benji and Polar Bear Mike. Veneno and Panda Cat are here to try and help round the corner. 3-man knock from Benji, and a millsy's running for his life again. Panda Cat gets the kill. The bear is surrounded at the moment. It needs to run for his life as quick as possible. I mean, at the same time, look at where Scream is. He's just farming the left-hand side.
He's just trying to heal up a little bit as well. Use that Seething Howl to get some lifesteal and possibly rejoin this fight. It looked like a great opportunity to chase that from Obey Alliance. That's as good of a fight as they're going to get. Down 12K gold. But this sustain from Veneno has just been so strong. eUnited playing around it so well. I mean, that last siege in the middle Phoenix, Pretty Prime brings everybody down to half HP when Emilzy escapes. And what does eUnited do? Instead of backing up, they stick around 15,000 healing for Veneno so far, plus 10,000 damage on top of that. I mean, he's doing so much healing.
Remove Twig.
Exactly. You can just take all the damage that Casa Twig has done so far and basically call it zero if Veneno has eliminated it.
Really good work from eUnited here. Has been very, very clean indeed from this team. Obey Alliance have, I think, they've not been caught sleeping. I just don't know if they expected this sort of level out of this eUnited team, because they've just not had an answer in either of these games so far.
It's been difficult to really handle what eUnited's thrown at them. It's the early pressure on the right-hand side, but even then, that didn't really happen in this game. That's what's so impressive about eUnited for me during this set, is that they've beaten Obey Alliance 2 different ways so far. Game 1, just smork them out, get pressure in the solo lane, and beat them up. In this game, it's really eUnited playing the slower pace and then just out-securing you on objectives. It's baiting you into corridors where this Ra is going to be able to be impactful, where the Hu Yi wants to fight you. Every fight that eUnited took in the mid-game was around an objective. It was either on the Gold Fury or on the Portal Demon. If Obey tried to fight you in lane, you weren't just going to take it. No way eUnited was going to let you fight them there. Being able to be the determining factor on where you're fighting and on what terms is such a good way to put it into your favor, and eUnited has been able to do that successfully.
It comes back for me for that Panda Cat play when he took a solo fight against Ataraxia, which forced a team fight, which got him a second kill of the game, that then started to show eUnited we're here to play, and we're like, okay, let's go for gold, and the fights from there have all been in eUnited's favor from the 10-minute mark onwards.
I mean, I was about to say, yeah, Panda Cat's had an incredible set, but so has Benji, and so has Veneno, and so has Mike, and so has you don't play this well, you don't look this dominant against an Obey Alliance team without all 5 members playing this perfectly.
So what needs to change for Obey? What does need to change? I mean, at the moment, they're not out of this game yet. It's a big lead, though, for eUnited. Defense is going to be a tricky one. Obviously, they do have a Discordia, but what is it about what they're doing that's not going right for them?
If I'm Obey, I think I'm trying to give Zalia Cullen in game 3. Give Obey some pressure on that right side of the map and take it away from Benji. Look, Benji's God pool huge. You're not going to be able to ban him out and put him on a God where he won't destroy you, but at least give Zalia his best pressure God. The Guardians so far have not really worked out because Guardians are usually thought of as the better team fighters out of the solo lane. Well, when Benji's playing, I mean, he's going to be able to out-team fight you on just about anything, so it hasn't worked out so far. Obey has done a good job of keeping Ataraxia either ahead or even. Ataraxia has done what he could, but Pretty Prime has not been given pressure yet in this set. Trying to get either Raijin or Kukulkan for Obey is going to be pretty big.
Middle Phoenix has just respawned. However, this fire minion's still tearing down that mid lane. And that's why eUnited have taken the fire giant and now got a group on the right. They still need to defend mid lane at the same time, do obey, and in goes eUnited.
Good stun there from Scream, but not a lot of follow-up. It forces eMealsy's ult, though, which means he doesn't have any CC immunity left.
Guess what's going to happen?
For the Ragnarok.
Scream looking for the ultimate on to eMealsy again. That's been the priority target to take away this Amaterasu whenever possible. Nice strike, though, from Pretty Prime.
Man, got a lot of relics there on the other side. Panda Cat is already down to relics, but Pretty Prime's already gone.
The sun's raining down as the Phoenix is being focused on. Left-hand side, Twitch trying to cause problems as Scream went very deep to keep them busy, but the Phoenix is still alive, and Obey are being able to hold for the time being. The middle Phoenix will stamp it out, but in goes Mike as Panda Cat takes out eMealsy.
Panda Cat is doing whatever he wants right now. Thought about jumping in, but decides to play it safe and get that Phoenix. Mid-Phoenix now the focus for eUnited. Not going to take him long to knock this one down. And with Prime and eMealsy both dead, they might not even need this left side.
They look like they're going to try to end as Polar Bear Mike jumps in, finds a stun, but the focus might be towards Zalia for a second. Benji's the one that's going to try and tack this up for his team, but Panda Cat getting focused, has to leap away. This could slow eUnited down for a second. They're not done. They're still going.
Titan down to half HP. eUnited up 2-0 over Obey.
North